Welcome to another edition of the Noles Podcast. I'm your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my information comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Today is January 26, 2020. And I got about 5 different segments here for this episode. And I hope you enjoy it. And let me get started. First, I wanted to start out with Marcus Woodson, the new defensive backs coach. And here's what I wrote about that. Marcus Woodson, from what I've read on the internet, is a good DBs coach. His secondary is ranked pretty high at Memphis and at Auburn. You already know he replaces TJ Rushing, who Jimbo poached from Florida State. Marcus Woodson played the position at Ole Miss, so he knows what he's doing. Give Norvell credit. He moved very quickly to get a new coach in place. That says a lot about Norvell and how well respected he is in the coaching community. But like I always say, I take the wait and see approach when it comes to coaches. Yeah, from all accounts, from what I've read on the internet, this guy's a well-respected coach. Marcus Woodson, that is. And, everybody wanted Terrell Buckley, man. And it just seems like, okay, this guy is an Ole Miss alum, and he's at Florida State. Terrell Buckley is a Florida State alum, and he's at Ole Miss. So it's just crazy. But, I hope he comes in. I hope he does a great job with the defensive backs. And we'll just see what happens, man. You got a lot of talent back there. You got some talent coming in. And we just got to trust this guy and hope that he does the right thing. And from all accounts, he will. So let me know what you think about that segment in the comments. Moving on to the next segment, which is about Malik Henry, former Florida State quarterback. He's on the, no surprise to me, he's out at Nevada, and this is what I wrote about that. Malik Henry, a former Florida State quarterback, was at Florida State in 2016. He got suspended by Jimbo for a violation of team rules. The suspension was indefinite, so he did something pretty serious. As of January 23rd, 2020, he's out at Nevada. I seen this guy play one time in the Under Armour All-Star game several years ago. His talent was okay. This kid has been nomadic his whole football life, high school and college. I hope he can get his act together and go pro and have a nice career. I would not want him at Florida State. His talent is not that great that Florida State should take him on. He's a head case. This program doesn't need that. Doing research on this guy via the internet. He's just nomadic, man. He can't get to a program and settle in and do what needs to be done. He's 22 years old. I think he's got like 1 year eligibility left. I mean, where can he latch on now? I mean, I don't think any big time program is going to take a chance on him. His talent is not that great to where you're going to risk messing up your program to bring him in. So we'll just have to take the wait and see approach. I don't think he gets on with anybody. That's my prediction. I hope he does. I mean, I always pull for the player. I always want the player to do the right thing and be in the best possible situation to succeed. But, Florida State, junior college, Nevada, it just keeps going on and on. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think about that segment. All right, next I'm gonna go to my next segment. Does Florida State name and brand still carry weight? And this is what I wrote about that. Yes, it does in most respects with coaches and fans. Amongst recruits, where it matters the most, I don't know. There were some rumors on the internet that the number one running back, Zachary Evans, was coming in for a visit this past weekend. I haven't heard anything. If Florida State could land him, it would be a major coup for Florida State. But we can't. If we do land him, I would rather have a top offensive lineman, a 5-star offensive lineman, than him as a 5-star running back. We need better offensive linemen. Florida A&M has a 5-star offensive lineman on their roster. I understand he transferred there, but it still just baffles the mind why we can't get top offensive linemen at Florida State. Florida State used to go all over the nation to get whoever they wanted. Rarely did Florida State go the JUCO route. Maybe Norvell can change this for the better. I also think the brand took a hit when Willie Taggart took over. The bowl streak ended. The winning season streak ended under his watch. That wasn't good for Florida State. The brand took a hit, in my opinion, like I previously stated. Those were two streaks that we were known for. And we just have to get back to a point where we're playing winning football. And, I don't know the strength and conditioning schedule. I hope it's every day. Hope they're working out every day. Because that's where it starts. That's where football starts at, is strength and conditioning. If you're not in shape, if you're not lifting weights, if you're not trying to get that edge on your opponent, right, at the very early stages of, the season and off season, that, that's where football is won and lost, in the off season. So, from all accounts, Norvell has really, from what I've seen on the internet, he's got these guys to buy in. So we just have to see what happens. You can't believe everything you read. You can't believe everything you see on the internet. If I'm not there at practice, which I'm not privy to what the actual situation is with the program now. But I can only hope as a fan that Mike Norvell is getting these guys pointed in the right direction. So let me know what you think about that segment in the comments. Next, I want to jump to Super Bowl 54. And, of course, my San Francisco 49ers are there. And I'm just going to try to, add something in about that every day up until the game. So right now I got Tyreek Hill versus Emmanuel Sanders. Who wins? All right, this is what I wrote about that. Tyreek Hill versus Emmanuel Sanders. Who wins? Tyreek Hill is obviously the faster receiver. Emmanuel Sanders is the better route runner. What makes Tyreek Hill even more unstoppable is that he has other, basically number one options on his team. Kelsey, Watkins, Hardman, and you got probably the best quarterback in the game throwing you the ball, Patrick Mahomes. Sanders just got to San Francisco a couple of months ago. Initially, he made an impact. He caught a game winner against the Rams. I think both guys will have an impact on the Super Bowl. The secondaries for both teams are okay, not great. I think San Fran's secondary might be a little better, but not enough to stop all the weapons KC has. So I have to declare Tyreek Hill the winner of this comparison. But I think Emmanuel Sanders will have a big game too. Tyreek Hill is the better receiver. But I only think it's because he has more weapons around him. So you can't really roll the coverage to Tyreek Hill. Whereas San Francisco has some weapons. Debo Samuel, George Kittle. We really don't have that fourth receiver. So we, with that, you can't coach 4-2 speed, man. You just can't do that. So I don't know what kind of game this is going to be, but throughout the playoffs, Kansas City has gone down a couple of scores early in this game. They historically don't start out fast, and then they just pick up. So San Francisco is going to have to pounce on that. That trait that they have of not starting fast. We're going to have to come out the gate fast and put some points on the board. And now this is going from a comparison to a breakdown. I just can't help it. I want my boys to win so bad. For San Francisco, you might have to go 4-2-5 because you got all that speed at receiver out there. Their running game isn't really a threat. So it's going to be real interesting to see what the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator Saleh comes up with to stop these guys. I wouldn't blitz. I wouldn't play a lot of cover 3. I would play a lot of cover 4, a lot of palms. I would force Mahomes to hold on to the ball and see if those defensive linemen can eat, man. And we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think about that segment. Next, and this might be a little weird for some of you guys, but why is crying in sports taboo? All right. Why is crying in sports taboo? Well, I don't know. Somehow, some way, men have been programmed to think that crying is a form of weakness. I disagree with that line of thinking. If you practice and play a sport for an extended period of time and you reach the pinnacle in that sport, to me, you can celebrate however you want, as long as you don't break any laws. You want to cry, you want to party, whatever you want to do, man. Emotions are a part of the game. They in the bigger picture, they're a part of life. So, the 4-letter network likes to make fun of, coaches that cry or players that cry. Man, I seen a kid at the NFL Combine last year. He was crying because he went out there and performed, great. And he was, he did a great job. To me, it's just macho nonsense, man. It's just crazy when people just walk around, men in particular, walk around with their chest stuck out doing the, just looking crazy, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. I just hope that this, I'm not gonna say be accepted, but just not marginalized and criticized. Like, it's life is a very emotional thing, so you can only imagine sports, man. Sports is a microcosm of life. So, let me know what you think about that segment. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is just a brief synopsis on the program. I like where we're going. I like the effort, the work that this staff is putting in with these players and getting more talent on this team. And, I hope it all cultivates with a great 2020 season. And, again, kudos to Mike Norvell for basically being able to get another DB's coach in, 24 hours. So the program is headed in the right direction, and I hope it keeps going that way. And we'll see what happens. That's going to conclude this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify Podcasts. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please scroll down to the description, click on one of the links, and subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, go Noles.